Well, hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the Lora Shipman Show. I'm your host, Laura, and I'm so glad you're here with me today. If procrastination has ever kept you from crushing your goals, this episode is going to be a game changer. Today, we're diving into powerful tools and strategies that I use every day, and they are going to help you kick procrastination to the curb and take charge of your time like a boss. Episode 346 starts right now. Well, hey there. Welcome to the Lora Shipman Show. I'm your host, Laura, and I'm here every week to help you create value-driven content quickly and efficiently while focusing on things like digital marketing, social media, productivity, and time management. My goal? To give you the tools to market your business effectively, manage your time, and create real results both in business and beyond. Are you ready to dive in? I know I am. Grab a notebook, a pen, and your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's get started. Okay, we've all been there, right? Procrastination, I hate it. It just makes me crazy. And it's really not just about putting things off until the last minute. It's actually more sneaky than that. I mean, if you think about it, it shows up as things that make you feel productive, but you're really not being that productive because it just makes you feel that way. So think about it. And this happens to me all the time. You go about doing your day and you know you've got projects in the background that you need to get started and everything. But then instead of starting those projects, you're doing other things that are making you feel good, right? Like checking email and responding to things instead of that big project. Or maybe you doom scroll on social media. And I do this a lot too because I feel like it's, quote, market research. I'll go and look and see what's trending now. And I'm thinking, well, this is good for my business, right? Because I need to know about social media and what's working today. So in my mind, I'm playing tricks on myself, like saying, yes, I'm working right now, when instead I'm really procrastinating on that big project or that big goal that I'm trying to kick out this year. Or what about like just grabbing a quick bite to eat, promising you're going to start after you're done eating lunch or a snack or whatever. And then there's your phone. It's sitting right there. And you're thinking, well, I should really catch up with so and so. Let me just send this quick text before I get started because it's been a while since I've talked to that person and I really need to stay connected. Or just insert whatever it is that you think you do without realizing it, that's really disguised as procrastination. So if you do recognize you're doing those things, don't beat yourself up. We all do it. And like I said earlier, for me, it's checking email. That's the first thing I go to because I'm like, okay, I see that inbox is lighting up. I know I can take care of some things really quickly before I get started on the other thing. And it just feels so good. It feels like I'm actually getting stuff done, but I'm not. I'm actually stealing from myself when I do that. I mean, if you think about it, procrastination, it steals time, your energy, your creativity, and even your confidence, right? So I know all this because I've been there. I've experienced it. And back when I first started my business, I would avoid those important tasks, the ones that I didn't feel confident in, that I really needed to take care of in order for my business to be successful. And one of them, and it's coming up quick, is taxes and all the financial stuff that you need to prepare and provide for your tax accountant. I don't like numbers. And those are the things that I avoid and I push off, and they feel so overwhelming. So they go to the bottom of the list. And then the result, it ends up being more stress, less progress, more overwhelm. So if that sounds like you, if you can like tap into anything or relate to anything that I've said here so far, keep listening because today we're going to go through, I think, 6 different tools that I use on a daily basis that really have helped me. And that first one is Brian Tracy's Eat That Frog. This is a classic. It's an older book. I love Brian Tracy. He just has such good sound information and ideas. And he's got this really easy to read book called Eat That Frog. I think that's the title of it. And so the basic idea of Eat That Frog is you're in a situation where it's a non negotiable, right? You have to eat 3 frogs. And there's like a little toad that you have to eat. Then there's like a medium sized frog that you might see on a regular, everyday basis, right? And then there's this one big hairy bullfrog. And the question is, which frog are you going to eat first, right? At first, when I first read this book, I thought, well, I'll just go for the little one, right? But that's not the right strategy. The right strategy is going after that biggest, hairiest, ugliest, grimy, slippery, slimy frog first because it's the hardest one to eat, right? And if you can get over that hump of that big frog first, and then everything else is just easier, right? So if you eat that big frog first, the second middle sized frog is not as bad as that first one. And the toad, well, heck, that was a piece of cake. I mean, how horrifying would it be to go through the first two frogs and then you have that big hairy frog looming over you all day long. And then you avoid it and you procrastinate eating it, even though you know you have to before the day is done. Well, it's the same thing with your work, right? Your frogs tend to be the most important and often the most dreaded tasks on your daily to do list, right? So if you tackle your biggest, hairiest, slimy bullfrog or to do first thing in the morning before all those distractions start creeping in, your results are going to be amazing, right? You're going to accomplish so much more in a day if you are able to tackle those big, hairy tasks first. And then it just multiplies, right? It just gets better. It's like if you're riding a bike and you climb that big hill, but then when you get to the top of the hill, you coast all the way down the rest of the trip. Same thing with your day, right? If you can just tackle that big, hairy task first, you're going to coast the rest of the day. And when I do this, when I look at my to do list for the day and I tackle that first thing as much as I don't want to, I dread it, I actually learn that that frog wasn't as bad as I initially imagined it to be. Like sometimes I just build up in my imagination and my mind how horrible this thing is going to be. And it's actually not as bad as I imagined it. And it didn't take as long as I imagined it either. So, checking off that first ugly task of the day, it usually sets the tone for the rest of the day. So, I really feel good after I do that awful task first. And then I just feel like I can do anything for the rest of the day. I feel more productive. I've got my power back, and anything is possible. Like it really energizes me for the rest of the day. Now, here's a little mind hack. If you're going to use this strategy for your day and you've got your three frogs, I recommend writing them down just before you go to sleep because it mentally prepares your subconscious mind. Like your subconscious mind will work for you during the night, um, working out the problems of those three frogs that you need to conquer the next day. Okay, makes sense. I love this one. I really recommend getting Brian Tracy's Eat That Frog book. You could probably read it in an hour or two. I just remember it being very thin and just like an easy read, but it made a lot of sense. Okay, the second tool that I use, I love this one too. It's Mel Robbins' 5 second rule. And again, it's a very simple concept, it's easy to remember, and it really helps you take action. And it's so effective because what it actually does is it disrupts the procrastination at the root of where it sits, right? So, what you do, if you feel yourself hesitating, all you do is you close your eyes and you count backwards from five. So you go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And then your body just will take action. So for instance, if you are sitting on the couch and you're thinking to yourself, I'll start that presentation in 5 minutes, don't do that because what's going to happen is the procrastination is going to live there. And the longer it lives within you, the harder it is for you to take action. So instead, count backward. And then once you hit one and then go, get up immediately and take action. So this simple trick, what it does is it activates, like it's a scientific thing that activates your prefrontal cortex, which helps you move from thinking about something to actually executing on something. So I use this rule all the time. And one of my favorite times to use it is simply getting out of bed after the alarm goes off. So daily, I walk about 3.5 miles with my next door neighbor. And we usually walk about 6 o'clock in the morning and it's dark. And even though we live in Florida, we live in Tampa, the mornings can be cold in the wintertime. So it can be like 37 degrees. I don't know about you. I'm not a fan of walking in the dark in 30 to 7 degree weather, and I'm not a morning person. Naturally, not a morning person at all. But what I'll do is I'll lay there in bed after my alarm goes off, and then I count backwards from 5. I've got two things working for me. I've got to be accountable to my friend, but I also have that action that's going to come after I say 1 and go. So try that. Tell me if you think it works. I mean, you can use it for simple things too. Just anything that you're having a hard time getting the motivation to do, try the 5-second rule. Okay, the third technique that I love, and I'll have to say, like these three techniques that I'm just mentioning now are ones that I use regularly, like all the time. This one is called the Pomodoro technique, and it's an Italian technique. And I think I've actually talked about this on the podcast before. A Pomodoro is a tomato, and this technique was I think created by an Italian man. I don't recall his name at this moment, but it talks about using a timer. And so in Italy, I think a common kitchen timer is actually in the shape of a tomato. So that's why they call it the Pomodoro technique, because you do use a timer and it's from Italy. Okay, so it helps me get large projects done in the fastest amount of time available, right? And it's also very perfect for those people who feel overwhelmed by big tasks. Now, here's how it works. What you're going to do is you're going to break your task or your work down into focused 25-minute segments called sprints, okay? With a 5-minute break in between each sprint. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to disappear for 25 minutes from reality, meaning that you are going to go radio silent. No phone, no text, no email. And my recommendation is you put all of your devices on airplane mode because it's the best way for you not to be disturbed. You become unreachable. You set a timer for 25 minutes and you focus on this one section of the work that you need to get done. And then when that timer goes off, you get up, you leave your desk, and you leave the environment that your desk is in, which I think is really important. So for me, I have a home office with a door, and I'll set my timer for 25 minutes. And then I'll set another timer for 5 minutes. So I know that 5-minute break I'm going to take and I'm going to go somewhere else in the house. I might take the dogs out for a couple minutes in the backyard and get some sunlight on my face. I might throw in a load of laundry in this 5-minute segment. The point is you just need to change your environment, and that at the end of 5 minutes, you're going to come back and you're going to do this 3 more times. So you're going to do 3 more 25-minute sprints. And then what you're going to do after the 4 intervals, the 4 sprints that you've taken, you're going to take a longer break, which is about 30 to 45 minutes. And then you're going to do something else that helps you reset your brain. And when I mean do something else, I mean something not work related at all. Maybe take a 30-minute walk or go read, go do something so that you can clear your head. But what happens after those 4 sprints, because it was so focused, you've gotten so much done. And it really helps me break through a couple of different things. If I am procrastinating because I don't want to get something done, or if I have a task that's so overwhelming I don't know where to start, I'll also do it for that. Or if I just need to get something done quickly, or if I'm bored with something too, that's a big one for me. I will use the Pomodoro technique to get me through the work that needs to get done. So the only thing you need for that is you need to have a clear understanding of what needs to get done, how you're going to divide your work up into 4 segments. You need a timer so you can time yourself. And then at the end of that last break, the 30 to 45-minute break, you're going to start another Pomodoro series for the next project or the second half of the project that you're working on. So try that out. I really like it. There is all sorts of information on the Pomodoro technique. If you have questions about it, I'm sure you could YouTube it and find some great videos on it. I love it. It's something everybody should try out. Okay, the next three ideas I'm going to give you are more like tools that you can use to set up your day. And this is something that I do all the time. The first one is time blocking. So I actually use Google Calendar and I set up my day for certain tasks. Like in the morning, that is Laura focus hours. Those are when I do my Pomodoros. Those are when I do my clear focus work. I do not take meetings in the morning. Like I probably do not turn my calendar on for people to set meetings with me until 1 o'clock in the afternoon because I want to use that first part of the day to get everything done. It just helps me prioritize and avoid distractions. So think about how you set up your day and how it's blocked out. Like, do you let things just kind of pop up as they pop up, or are you very intentional about how you set up your day? If you've never been intentional about how you set up your day, I suggest trying it because you'll be amazed at what you learn. You'll learn maybe when your most productive hours are. Some people are very productive first thing in the morning, other people are productive later in the afternoon. So, truth, I tend to be somebody who is more productive later in the afternoon, but I'm trying to train myself to be more productive in the mornings because I get tired in the afternoons, right? And I want to do my best work in the mornings. So, time blocking is a method or a tool that I really like to use. A second method or tool, and we talk about this all the time on this podcast, and that is task batching. It's a favorite of mine, and I could not live without it. And again, this is another simple concept. And notice how all of these concepts are pretty simple and memorable. They are the most effective. So here's how task batching works. What you do is you take a look at your work, figure out what tasks are similar and group them together. So, for example, you might set aside certain times of your day for writing blogs or creating email campaigns, or when you're doing like creative work, like lead magnets or something like that. I tend to do it for all of those things. Plus, I'll batch things like podcast episodes, caption writing, graphics, video editing, whatever it is I'm working on in my business. I try and chunk it out into light tasks. Because what happens is when you do that, when you're not toggling from one type of task to another, you end up getting into something called like a flow state. And just like all the creativity and productivity just comes to the surface and bubbles up and gets going. And you just become a machine of, productivity. I love it. So, think about how you can sort your day and sort your tasks so that you're grouping these things together and that you're not just BB gunning all over the place because it's exhausting for your brain to do that. If you can help your brain run more efficiently, you'll be amazed at how much it helps you. And it helps with creativity too, because once you are in that flow state, all of a sudden these ideas come to you because you're staying in that same place for longer, so you're getting more fresh and creative ideas. Okay, so the next and last little tool that you can use is the Eisenhower matrix. And what this tool does is it helps you prioritize tasks by urgency and importance. So what you want to do is divide your tasks or sort your tasks into four different categories and assign them into one of these blocks. The first one is a do it now, got to get done. The second block is schedule it, so it can be scheduled. Another one is delegate it, maybe somebody else can do it. And the fourth one is delete it. Like, is it really necessary? Is this something you're just wasting time on just because you feel like you have to do it? Or is it something that can just go away? So, when I started using this matrix and recognizing how much value I was putting on tasks that were unimportant, I realized how much time I was wasting and it freed me up to focus on what really, really matters. Okay, so now you have all the tools that you can use. I think there's another tool that's really important, and that is understanding why you may procrastinate. And if you understand why you may procrastinate, it might help you to determine which of the tools I mentioned might work best for you. So, some of the reasons why we procrastinate is boredom, like the task is boring and we don't want to do it. Fear is another one. Maybe it's fear of failure, fear of not getting the right results. So identify what that fear could be. Or maybe the task is just so flippin' overwhelming that it just seems like bigger than you that you could not conquer it. Not knowing where to start is another reason why we procrastinate. And then the last reason is really not having the right tools or the right knowledge to get started. So if you could figure out what it is that is causing you to procrastinate, once you can name it, then you can tame it and then you can own it, right? And then take action. So if it's boredom, you just really don't want to do it because it's just boring to you, maybe Mel Robbins' 5-second rule might help you just take action. Or if you feel overwhelmed by it, maybe the Pomodoro technique will help because you're breaking it down into little sections or segments to get done. So then the task doesn't look so big after all. So take a look at why you procrastinate and see which one of these tools would actually help you get started and get the job done. Okay, so let's bring this all together, right? We've talked about tools, we've talked about why we procrastinate. Imagine what it would look like to you if you started your day identifying your frogs, right? Then you use the 5-second rule to jump into action, working through tasks in the Pomodoro technique, and all of a sudden you combine this with time blocking and batching and you are a badass. You are a powerhouse that can beat procrastination and level up your productivity any day of the week. And the best part, not only do these tools save you time, but they also build momentum and confidence. Okay, my friends, I hope you liked this episode. I love talking about productivity, efficiency, time management, all of these things, and the tools that we can use to help make our work days a little bit more productive and less overwhelming. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I'm going to have more of these types of podcast episodes coming out in 2025. But before you go today, I have two things for you as always. The first one is your weekly challenge or homework, and the second one is a ChatGPT prompt that's going to help you with this. So the weekly challenge is identify your frog for tomorrow and tackle it first thing in the morning, and then try the Pomodoro technique for one of your tasks and let me know how it goes. Let me know if you were able to break down that overwhelm and share your results with me on Instagram or LinkedIn or anywhere we connect on social media. And then the ChatGPT prompt. I love ChatGPT because you can use it for more than the average thing. You use it for so many things. And so you can also use it for this. And here's the prompt for you. And if you can't copy it down right now, don't worry, I'll have it in the show notes for you. Help me identify my most important task for tomorrow and give me a step-by-step plan to complete it using time management techniques like time blocking or the Pomodoro technique. Now, you might have to give some context to ChatGPT, but and you can even ask ChatGPT, what do you need to know in order for you to give me a plan? And just play around with it and see what you get back. All right, my friends, thank you for tuning in today. And don't forget, subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who needs just a little help crushing procrastination. Until next time, keep moving the needle in your business and your life. See you next time. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope you found this episode helpful and packed with value. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an update. And hey, if you know someone who could benefit from today's tips, please share the podcast with them. It's the best way to help others and grow our community. Until next time, keep creating, stay motivated, and I'll see you in the next episode.